Sanibonani molweni kuzo zonke indawo enibukelene kuzo kuMzansi Afrika nje. Namhlanje Ebuhlanti sivizithe iorganization abayibiza Sisonke. Organization ke ene partnership with Inarela, Sanarela, hands-off campaign at regional level. Sizoxoxa ke ngezinto ezi-affecta ama-sex workers eMzansi Afrika. Simeme nabefundisi ke in this table ukuthi sizoncokola kabanzi ngama-issues that are affecting sex workers in our society. Angihambi ngedwa, ngihamba nabantu ke ningababiza ama-experts, but abantu abakulo mkhakha esizokhuluma ngawo namhlanje. Ngicela ubingelele abantu lapha emakhaya uzazisa ukuthi ubani igama lakho, but usho nje ukuthi ibaluleke ngani le partnership and ningobani. Mhlambe abanye bakwazi Sanak, but viewers at home bangafuna ukwazi ngcono ukuthi ubani.
Sanibonani viewers at home. Nna ke ka hora sibitse and I will tlolela ka mojotle gore ke bua Setswana mo le gore I will understand gore the viewers at home they will be easy gore this conversation must take it in our bedrooms and also in our dining areas. Nna ke shaka ke itse gore ke ka hora sibitse go botlhokwa gore ka je go re be le conversation le gore setse re thomile many years ago mo le gore e conversation le gore ngata e ba le gore ha re tshwantse re bue ka on the table. Sometimes a bit of discomfortable. So feeling that I would also allow me or Ronald Horngene Moeta Pele, one Mokaka on a link, Nekoli Hori, Aridu medicine.
And someone Makaya sending a last bong and what is Bene Chola and Flanja, good is Lala Tafles Bulo, and Naba Fundisi. Also, Nampati Usbugele, we include Mesobana and Flanje. Igama lami ngumkhulu kaButhelezi Sibongo ngokusuka ngibe KZN ngokusebenza ngilapha eGoli. Ngizonichazela nje kabanzi ukuthi kuqale kanjani ukuthi size la sikhona khona. Ngomunye wabaqambi be-organization lena esikhuluma ngayo namhlanje uSisonke. uSisonke meaning we are togetherness waqanjwa ngo-2003 kuze kube namhlanje sisa-exista si-organization ibanga lokuthi siqambe uSisonke. Kuningi obukwenzeka kodadewethu kubhuti bethu ngaphandle kumsebenzi abawenzayo lapha, abanye baseqadi nabanye basemahotela, abanye basebenza amafoni, abanye basebenza endaweni eningi. Kodwa I think ukuthi into ebalekile ukuthi ngazisona namhlanje ukuthi ngokuhlukumezeka ade behlangabezana nako ngaphandle kwasenza ukuthi sizosifike lapha esikhona namhlanje. Kuningi esizoxoxana namhlanje. Hlalani nathi sikhona.
Yeah. Mfundisi wami uhleli phakathi kweSisonke la abasebenza ngama sex workers, and ungasho mhlawumbe ukuthi yini yabangela ukuthi nibe part of this partnership. I know for instance benike na trainer no trainer iSisonke neInarela 2 weeks ago. Ungasho mhlawumbe ukuthi ibaluleke ngani le partnership?
Thank you very much, Prof. I want to greet everyone who is...
You can greet in a event, it's fine.
Okay, ndi loribuwa bo Prof ndi kotama uruberisa watu bote bene bakobona hey program masera dwala na musi, and then I will also greet in English, so because I always have my partners who have to listen, and I'm very excited to be here in this afternoon. So Prof, just to be straight to the point, when we were doing this training, we had a lot of question in our mind, thinking maybe they are saying now we need to join and sex workers. It was not, well, what is going to happen? So a lot of pastors was like, hey, chairperson, do you think it's the right thing? I said, let's go.
Yeah.
And then, because we need to empower ourselves, we need knowledge. So yeah, immediately when we arrived, we realized no, it's something that as religious leaders were against it, because we don't want killing, we don't want violence, because we are the light of the world, and we are the salt of the world. So we have to make sure that in everything that we do, we have to show the light. And then it was a very good training, and then informative to us. So, and then I believe that working together with sex workers, it is going to change the world and the perspective that other religious leaders have towards sex workers.
Yeah.
Because
Siskole yini mhlambe nini enenze ukuthi nicabanga ukuthi abefundisi isector right yokusebenza nayo ngoba baningi abantu we have a lot of sectors in our communities. I mean na choose ukusebenza nabefundisi, and very soon I'm sure kune decree that you are also enithathela phezulu ukuthi criminalization of sex work must come to an end in South Africa. But instead of going to parliament or to concord that maganiqali nisebenza nabefundisi, yini nipush ukuthi nisebenza nabefundisi?
Thank you for the question. It's very important because criminalization itself in a stigma, it contributes to a stigma, the discrimination towards the community sebenza ngayo. So we had to think, we had to see it because we've knocked into many doors. Sesiziningi izindlela esikokode zifuna usizo around the support kwizinto osisi odadewethu nabafowethu abahlukumezeka ngazo. So one of the idea I think was also to make sure that we work in this aspect. But then funders that are also giving us money, they're funding us to reduce ukwehlisa izinga lokuhlukumezeka nestigma that is attached kumsebenzi onjengalona. So I think the idea came around that to the international donors that are funding us ukuthi masisebenzisane ne-pastors also nathi. It was a good thing because we know ukuthi some of the pastors mostly they don't judge ukuthi ubani and ukuphendwa wenzani. So I think ngaleyo ndlela we felt ukuthi kubalekile nathi si-organization ukuthi sisebenzisane ne-inarela nesanarela around making sure ukuthi si-reduce into okuhlukumezeka kodwa nento okugxekwa ukuthi ubani kuphi. I think around the issue yeBhayibheli we felt ukuthi abafundisi badlala indima enkulu kakhulu in making sure ukuthi umuntu emphakathini uyahlonipheka and uyarecognize ukuthi ubani wenzani akusho lutho but kusafanele ukuthi ahlonipheke.
Okay, sizobe sikhulume ngicela nje sithola amanzi must be a break in ngifuna kune question engifuna ukuyibuza i difference between I prostitutes and sex work. Stay tuned. Kamlam ke ngimbola lojazi. Ake sibuyile e break in kahle kune question la. I know ukuthi abantu abaningi bangazi kwi men's sector.
Yes.
Bazothi ngizamela amajida is fine.
I'm aware of.
Yini difference between sex workers nama prostitutes? I know eBhayibhelini kukhulunywa ngama prostitutes and la gama li very harsh. Basho abanye abantu ukuthi lingena kabuhlungu. What is the difference?
If you look in the biblical era around where the kings were the rulers, the empires in those eras. So empires in when they would throw a party or celebrations, prostitutes will be invited to entertain the royalties. We have seen it also happening also in South Africa where certain royal families were here and women were flown in a plane to entertain the royal families. So if you were living in that era, that plane that landed in South Africa, those women who come to entertain royalties, they were going to be declared in the biblical term prostitutes. So but now the kings and the rich people end up in the biblical eras. So some they will go as far as strictly saying I only being entertained by virgins who are into prostitution, but meaning that you would get your payment at the end of the entertainment. So you have seen it now happening in the modern as well, where like now there's your mavosos where women are being called and then you get the payment after the entertainment, the service rendered. So then they needed for the rulers to control it because some prostitutes were also was exposed to uncomfortable working environment. So some prostitutes, they were kind of like organize themselves, ran away from this, the chain of being controlled by the royalties and wanted to open their own movement. So what the law then did was to say, rather develop that if you are to be found practicing this that is only being given to the royalties, you practice to the commoners, there's a law against you that you said you must be stoned to death. Okay. So these are some of the things when now when you look now, we're moving through the Bible, when you look now into the Jesus eras, also the name prostitute comes up because now it was You cannot be seen in public doing this because of this is something that's only happening within the royal families. This is the something that a woman will be laid on the table and a very rich king will come and eat. That's where now your sushi table girls came out to South Africa. So, but these were the practice that are already within the biblical context. So now are you asking yourself, so what is the difference? So before they were called prostitutes, they were called mistresses. So that's why we find that King Solomon had 1,000 mistresses. But the correct term for them is prostitute. So meaning you become a mistress. From being a mistress, the minute...
So i-sex work imangale yamadikazi. King Solomon wayenamadikazi. Siyayazi leyo. Yini i-sex work?
So remember now, because these particular women were not working in an environment that is not controlled. So what we're calling for is to say, sex work, it's a service that you need to negotiate. You're not just being called to say, hey, come and wake up, it's 12 o'clock, come and entertain Katlego because Katlego's got dollar. But it must be a service that you say, I'm consenting, mentally I'm prepared, and I'm an adult, I can negotiate. That's why now, as the country in South Africa, since 2016, there's no government document that has ever, say again, they will use the word prostitute. You can check from your Department of Health, Department of Labor, all of these government departments, and neither of them are still using the word prostitute after the adoption of the first sex was NSP in 2016 that was launched. By then he was the co-chairperson of SANAC, but now he's the president of the country, Brother Ramaphosa. That's now the difference between the two.
Okay, Mfundisi. Siyabona ukuthi sex workers bayabulawa, amadoda afuna ukukhokha after ethole service uchoose ukumbulala. Ingaba nina ningama faith leaders yini indima or role enizoyidlala ngoba ukubulwa kwabantu I don't care who says what, it can't be biblical. Abefundisi can promote that. So say abefundisi role yabo kule campaign also to address stigma nokubulawa izohamba kumfundisi nithi nina ningabefundisi.
Thank you, Prof. These things started during the time of Jesus Christ. I think if you read the book of John from chapter 8, then you realize that Jesus, there were Pharisees who caught this woman in the middle of adultery. And they brought her, they brought this woman to Jesus to say, okay, fine, Jesus, we caught this woman in the middle of adultery. And then according to the law, they're speaking of religion and religious law, that this woman must be stoned to death. So Jesus also set an example of what we have to do as religious leaders. Because he said, if anyone is without sin, because meaning there is no better sin, must be the first one to cast the stone. And then all the people who wanted to stone this woman, then they realized that, no, everyone, I may be stealing sugar or corrupt financially, doing some other things. I don't qualify to judge any other person. So Jesus, what he did, he created a safe space for the woman. And then he held her by the hand and he said, go and sin no more. So those are the things that we need to do going forward, protect from this violence. Thank you.
Sizo addressa kanjani lento ye stigma nokwenza sure ukuthi the entire society iyayisupport the campaign ye hands off without mhlambe abo malema babini moso malema kunomunye malema lo ongumfundisi akusulo wepolitiki ukuthi abo malema mhlambe mabe ba involved kule campaign bangasound ngathi baya recruit senza kanjani to protect them as well so that njengoba sisebenza sonke kungathi nawa befundisi bepromoter bethi manje ingane zethu mazingene kulento sizoyinika kanjani i-community assurance ukuthi la kune particular cause esifocus kuyo. And we are not, because for instance we workshop here and you mentioned that we are not recruiting children.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for the question. I think firstly into engafisa ukuthi ngichaze ukuthi people are in the sex work industry already. I'll make an example. My contacts are on social media. As I work for this organization, also being the founding member. People who will contact me, I think I get about plus minus 20 calls a day, men and female, abafisa ukungena ku-industry due to COVID umsebenzi uyaphela and na before vele sine high unemployment rate e-South Africa abantu abangasebenzi, right? So I think our country is so ignorant. Bazi manje benza ngathi izinto abayibona nezinto ziyenzeka, right? So one of the AMC organization ukuthi senze sure ukuthi siyavikela zonke into ezifana lezi, especially abantwana abancane bangangena. I think i-poster yam, if you back it does say ukuthi we work towards against the 3-4 things that are listed I think behind my post. So lento izonceda kanjani ukuthi sisebenzisane. I think pastor indima abazoyidlala ukuza ngokuthi abayenzi into yokujudge, and I know ukuthi there are some of pastors and some churches that have actually denied fellow sisters and fellow brothers i-access ukuthi bangene emasontweni nima ngabe sebaziwa ukuthi benza umsebenzi othize sekuthiwa hayi, kodwa ngoku-understanda kwami iBhayibheli who we are to judge abantu. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi kule ndima lesikuyo opastor bazongena ngendlela ukuthi benze sure ukuthi basikhumbuza somphakathi ukuthi into yokujaja ayikho right, and into yokujaja yenza abantu ukuthi baze bagcine sebe bezinikela kwizinto eziningi I think ezi-wrong. Ugcina usukhohlwa ngoba mawuthi uyabheka nje the reason sikuleli tafula namhlanje sikule partnership it is because of nathi sizamela ukuthi sikokote eminyango eminingi sifuna usizo, and nala kule tafula esikolo namhlanje sosebenzisana nabafundisi internationally globally and South Africa ukuthi sizama khona ukuthi sithole ukuthi indlela yokusizakala samukelekile kule esikuyo, and kuyangijabulisa ukuzwa lokho ukuthi sobesebenzisana namafundisi ukwenza sure ukuthi abantu abakule industry bavikelekile and abajajwa futhi ukuthi bawobani, kodwa at the same time kuzobe kuphushwa any agenda ukuthi immorality mazime kancane lana sikhuluma ngamalungelo abantu bayahlukumezeka, so into ebalekile leyo. Ngiyabonga.
Makasambe se-breaking ke sibuye ke masibuya sizokhuluma ngeplan engathi kuneplan ekhona la abomalema abayenzile nama-faith leaders moving forward. Siphinde sikhulume ngama-morals la ngoba nokubulala umuntu akusi-moral. Stay tuned. Masizoconclude le discussion yethu ngifuna sikhulume mhlambe ngezinto ezizokwenzeka ama-gents sizamelani nala because lokubulawa kwabantu ku-associate nathi, ukungakhokhi ku-associate nathi, siyathenga sifuna ukukhokha, siyabulala, silahla abantu emabridgini. Izinto lezo engicabanga ukuthi i-society ayikwazi ukuzijustifya, and there is no scripture esinojustifya i-crime. Izinkokheli masiphuma lana ezokwenziwa ocabanga ukuthi it's important i-society izazi and i-society ibe behind these campaigns. Ngoba abantwana babo la yibo abantwana babo baza nama-plastic. Lo plastic awumbuzi ukuthi uvela kuphi kanti ingane yakho yenza sex work.
You know, before I can just 1 minute before I answer that, I like what Muruti Malema said when in the book of John 8, which is verse 1 up to 14. If you look in that script, clearly in that district on that day, Jesus decriminalized sex work on that day, from the murdering, the stigma, the discrimination. Yeah. Clearly on that day, if it was in Hillbrow, Hillbrow was a safe space ever since it to now. We're still speaking about that district. Now going into our plan, that also I would like Mekodi to add more. We are now currently in a situation where we want also the masses to be aware. Our current admin, the ruling party, has actually failed to decriminalize sex work. Meaning, if Jesus had to be given orders by then for a ruling party, can you do what I did? The ruling party has failed. Those sex workers that the very same money that they say it's been criminalized, they donate it to church. Yeah. Because sex workers are also mothers, are also aunties, are also fathers, are also transgender people. So, but that being said, because due to time, I would like maybe after maybe that Malema you and the program that then Mekoli will just wrap it up around some of the plans that we have in place.
Okay. Any plans? The out manje say run the show.
Thank you. He's speaking like a Samaritan woman. You know, a Samaritan. After meeting Jesus, then you can see there's a transformation. Then he's calling everyone. Yeah. So thank you. We have put a plan in place where Sisonke, Inarella and Sanarella will be having a collaboration to make sure that We train religious leaders and make sure that we cascade all information and the training to other communities and churches. So that is going to help us to enlighten also the pastors, and so that they can make sure that the love of Jesus that he said we must express, we must show to each and everyone. It must not have boundaries. We need to love everyone. And because our God so loves the world and he gave his only begotten son so that whoever believes in him must have eternal life. So we must do that. We must just love everyone. We must not judge. So those are the things that will be spreading worldwide, making sure that everyone understands that what we are doing here, we are doing the love of God. Yes.
Sisonke, kuzokwenzekani kule kota? So that we form part of your activities.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prof. There's a lot of our activities that I think are going to be happening, but I must say and emphasize the fact that this part of a partnership, it has created us an opportunity to bring love and educate one another on the issues of sex workers, because as much as we're going to be working with pastors, but also they need to learn more from our side on who are the sex workers and how do we work with sex workers. And it's not going to just be I think beyond the project or beyond the partnership and into ngithanda ukuthi some of the ideas izinto mhlambe sikhulume ngazo where you create a space for odade wethu nobhuti bethu abakulo mgangatho bakwazi ukukhulumisana nopastor ngeenkinga abanazo, because we've got some of our fellow sisters asebagxothiwe emasontweni ngoba bazi ukuthi benzani. We've got some of we've got cases that we've attended. I think in some of the
I don't understand here, Mfundisi Malem. Abantu baxoshwa kanjani esontweni? I thought isonto a hospital of sinners. Can you 1 minute?
Those are the reason why we have to make sure that we train our fundis, so that they must not put law on top of other law. Ngoba umfundisi if wabheka into yenza ukuthi this woman was chased to be killed is because of the law. And in the law of Moses, because the Amazon they've got their own law. And uNkulunkulu has got one law, of which is the greatest law, love.
Yes.
So we just have to make sure that we love one another.
Okay, bengifuna nje inkinga ikhululeke uze ukuthi not onke amasonto anele mandate okuxosha abantu.
Yeah, and I think true as bengishilo nasekuqaleni ukuthi in this part of working with the pastors we find a space whereby kune peace odade wethu bamkelekile, ezinye iziplan esizifakayo in place ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bafinyelele bakhulume nopastor ukuthi na inkinga nabanikwe leyo counseling enothando, because zikhona cases esinazo esike sazi attenda before whereby osisibe odade wethu ngokuthi baziwa kwindawo abahlala kuzo noma sebe esontweni sebakhishwa esontweni. I-cases I think there are about more than 3-4 cases that SCSs attender. But yeah, so the partnership I think is create izovula ikhaya eliwarm.
Abanye banqumule ne join. Banqumule join katla, what do I do now?
Yes. So going forward, ubhlobo bethu I think beyaphambili, because there's a lot of work that I think we need to do on the ground. But I promise ukuthi you'll be continuously watching shows I think ezimayelana nale nquba eyenzeka namhlanje sizoniphathela okuningi ngesikhathi sizayo.
Wena co-presenter. few comments. Where to from here?
Oh, where to from here?
And why ninga address a constitutional court around decree?
Issue yaka decree right now, if you look at it, kakhulu abantu aba anti-decree ne abantu abathi bona bayifuni i-sex working abi crime, most ngama Christ to South Africa and nama traditionally leaders of ichibo aba pusha back kakhulu. And we would like to have a discussion. That's why now this partnership is going to make also us to access those mega churches. Abantu what Bishop akhulumile, and it goes back as to see. Remember, Rustenburg. Bishop Calvin was the first bishop at Rustenburg to distribute condom, and the whole Catholic Bambona is the taboo. But today we see more churches are now saying, but we need to protect human life. If condom is the next solution, we need to protect more human life. We have seen now churches also, but they've created spaces where like people are able to access ARVs right as one doing. So these are some of the environment we also want to enable, so that sex workers are free to approach or bishop or pastors and fundis in Nkenga, then she can easily open up.
Okay. Thank you you very much, colleagues, for honoring this invitation. Mhlambe moving forward, sizoba nama dialogues namajita, bring amajita ama clients in one room, sibiza ama sex workers in one room, sibiza abefundisi in one room, and have a discussion. We don't have to kill each other. Igama lam ndingumbulolo Tyasi, bekumnandi ukuba nani. Emakhaya nonke enibukele ngithi nje ncinzeleli.